What's up, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Game, your one source for everything cool in video games. Now, you can always be a part of the show. All you have to do is go to insidethegame.ca or hit us up on our Discord, where there you can submit your clip and end off our show. We have an awesome show this week, 2 great interviews, and one of the hottest topics in the industry, Cyberpunk 2077. But you know how we kick it off. Here it is. It's the Inside Scoop.
I got a pretty exciting one this week. Among Us, the popular game right now on Steam and iOS/Android mobile devices, is actually kind of taking storm, and the development company Intersloth that created the game actually back in 2018 was working on a sequel for the game, and they actually canceled it because the game became so popular. They said they were going to cancel the sequel and focus on just adding everything they were going to do in the sequel and put it back into the first game, and they were just going to focus on adding to the original game that everybody's just kind of picked up and playing on. Well, that growth hasn't stopped. They've announced that they're going to be on the Nintendo Switch, which is a huge deal. I mean, this is the perfect kind of game that would port to the Switch just exactly how you want to do it. You can play it on handheld, you'll be able to play it on the TV, and the best part is it's going to be cross-play. So you're not just playing with your Nintendo friends, you're playing with your friends on Steam, you're playing with your friends on their phones. That's what makes this game so much fun. It's accessible. The only thing is, it's free on mobile. It costs you about $5-6 on Steam, and it's going to cost you about $8 in the Nintendo eShop. That's a small price to pay for how much fun this game really is. If you can get a group of even, 8 to 10 people playing this and everybody's communicating together, it's a ton of fun, especially when, you're sussing everyone. But you know what? This is a really good addition for Intersloth. I think expanding into the Nintendo Switch area is a really good move for them, because this game, it doesn't really require much as far as, graphical output or anything like that. It's just a plain fun game with a great design and great mechanics. So adding that to the Switch library is huge for Intersloth, and it's huge for Among Us fans. So if you definitely want to check this one out and you want to play it on your Switch, you can download it right now.
Hyperscape is Ubisoft's entry into the very popular Battle Royale genre, and Drew and I got a chance to check it out when it first came out, and I have to say that personally, I had a blast. Now, this game has continued to get bigger and better over time. There have been several updates, including a team deathmatch, and also they've added a winter festival more recently that sees a lot of cosmetic changes to the game. Well, the game has gotten a lot bigger again as they move into crossplay. Now, both sides of the coin, PlayStation and Xbox, regardless of version, will be able to play in the same realm together, in addition to PC. Now, it is worth noting that PC players will be able to get into the game in a different way on the Epic Games Store very soon, and the presence of one PC player in a lobby will bring that entire lobby into a PC accessible zone. The Battle Royale is set to get a lot bigger and a lot messier with all the consoles and PC combined, but that's a good step in this new entry to Battle Royale in general.
It's finally here, but it's coming at a price. Cyberpunk 2077 has released, but CD Projekt Red has actually put out an apology about the game over on their Twitter. Over on Twitter, Cyberpunk 2077 had this to say. First of all, we would like to start by apologizing to you for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence, not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. We should have paid more attention to making it play better on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Second, we will fix bugs and crashes and improve the overall experience. The first round of updates have just been released, and the next one is coming within the next 7 days. Expect more, as we will update frequently whenever new improvements are ready. After the holidays, we'll continue working. We'll release 2 large patches, starting with patch number 1 in January. Then we will be followed by patch number 2 in February. Together, these should fix the most prominent problems gamers are facing on last-gen consoles. We will be informing you about the contents of each patch ahead of their release. They won't make the game on last gen look like it's running on high spec PC or next gen console, but it will be closer to that experience than it is now. Finally, we would always like everyone who buys our games to be satisfied with their purchase. We would appreciate it if you would give us a chance. But if you are not pleased with the game on your console and don't want to wait for updates, you can opt to refund your copy. For copies purchased digitally, please use the refund system on PSN or Xbox respectively. For box versions, please first try to get a refund at the store where you bought the game. Should this not be possible, please contact us at helpmerefund@cdprojectred.com and we will do our best to help you. Those on last gen consoles right now are definitely experiencing some major issues. Everything from crashes to incredible bugs. We're playing on the Xbox Series X and Google Stadia, and we're having issues there as well, but we're on a different platform. Old gen is definitely struggling. PC is where this game was displayed and shown off, and I think it kind of had people fooled a little bit, expecting more. But if you've played Red Dead or GTA and you know how some of these games look, or even The Last of Us Part 2, they look great on PS4. So they kind of had high expectations when you're dealing with the company who produced The Witcher. The Witcher 3 was a phenomenal game on last gen consoles. Everybody had high hopes. Unfortunately, refunds are now a thing.
Ubisoft just released an update for Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the PlayStation 5, and in this patch it fixed a lot of bugs and glitches, but it also improved performance and stability. But what they forgot to mention is they've also added better support to the adaptive triggers and haptic feedback on the DualSense controller. So this means as you squeeze back on R2 you will feel resistance as Evil's pulling back on the bowstring depending on the type of bow you use, whether it's the light bow, the hunter or the predator. Well, I'm really excited about this because at the moment I'm playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla on my Xbox and I'm really loving this game. But to have this feature to immerse you even more into the game, I'm really looking forward to trying out soon.
Well, Scott, we got our hands on a prequel with this one, Chronos Before the Ashes.
Human, attend me. Long have I lurked here, little warrior, hidden from the dragon's gaze. Yet I know your past, your present, your future. Just as I know the force of the World Stone lingering about you.
Alright, Scott, so we got our hands on Chronos Before the Ashes, which is actually a prequel to Remnant from the Ashes, a game that both of us actually, unfortunately, never got to play. But I can say that getting my hands on this one, it is pretty cool, man. It's this Souls-like RPG kind of third-person perspective game where you're set out to kind of, save the world from evil, which is a very generic description of this game, but it's got a really kind of cool twist. At the very beginning of the game, there's this woman talking to you and explaining to you that there has been an evil that has taken over the world and forced us to the caves and the cracks of our world, and that we, ourselves, need to destroy it. And basically they kind of give you the hint that there's this dragon that has taken over and we need to take it out. So it's kind of cool, man, because there's this really interesting twist with this game where whenever you die, you actually progress 1 year in age.
Yeah, it's a very interesting concept because once a year, each year, this portal of sorts opens up and allows you to traverse into where the dragon is and challenge it. And that's kind of the crux of the story element to it, is that if you can defeat this dragon, that will stop the onslaught that's happening on the planet. And it kind of does this interesting thing where when you die and you progress in age, you also get a little bit different. Your character kind of changes in strength attributes versus the magic sort of attributes. And I think that's really interesting. This little look into this game has definitely piqued my interest for this series, because it is this nice blend of an RPG adventure that has a lot of different RPG elements that are threaded into it, with a Souls-like kind of battle experience. You have a light attack, you have a heavy attack, you have these elemental kind of magics you can bring, and it's a lot of parrying away from very strong attacks. This game definitely has that difficulty edge where certain things can easily kill you, but that also just adds to the excitement for me, because there's a lot of new places to explore, and those are the dangers associated with them. It's a really interesting game to kind of just get into, because I'm not super aware of all the lore that follows this series, but it seems like such a rich environment that you go through with these different books to read about the events that have happened in the game. And then of course it's tying to the Remnant, the other game in the series, and it must somehow hook up with that lore. This one's really cool because it kind of paces you through these different areas where I was just left to explore, and I liked that free kind of gameplay style. It didn't seem like I was being pulled through a movie scenario. It was very open to wherever I decided to go.
Yeah, I really liked, honestly, the concept of the world that they created, where there's no one direction, man. Like, there is sort of a direction, because a lot of it is puzzle mechanics. You come to a wall where you need to obtain a part, and then, you kind of gotta go backtrack maybe a little bit and then find it. But I just love the environment, man. I came across this blacksmith, and at first I locked onto him and I almost started to attack him, but I'm like, wait a minute, he isn't hostile. So I talked to him, and he actually kind of opened up a quest. And I say a quest, but it wasn't like something where I press start and I look at my quest line kind of thing. It was more just like, if you go out and collect this golem's eye, I will reward you with a weapon. So, it's just, I really kind of like this whole sense of style with this game, man. Like you said, there's all sorts of lore throughout the game. There's terminals to read, and when you read them, it's really got this dark sort of twist, kind of explaining how the creatures run the world and kind of how we are where we are. Cool puzzles complement an interesting world, all with a unique art style to the Souls-like genre. Also a very cool aging system that brings a different element to the ARPGs.
I caught up with Josh to talk about his latest film, Insert Coin. Trip down memory lane as we check out the world of Midway and the rise and fall of the arcade. Here's our interview. Check it out. I have a very special guest with me today. I'm talking to Josh about Insert Coin. Josh, for those who don't know who you are, why don't you give us a brief backstory of your time in the industry and how you came to developing the new documentary, Insert Coin?
Sure. Yeah. My background is I'm a game developer. I've been working in games for 25 plus years, and I started my career at Midway Games in the early 90s. So it's actually the period of time that the film actually covers, and so I was there during the crazy years. I started in 93 and I left around 99. And this is when, Mortal Kombat had already blown up, NBA Jam was blowing up, but you can see the trajectory of where Midway Games is going. And so, I worked with those teams and other games, and then, went off to work at EA, formed a couple of my own studios. So I worked in games for a long time. But I always had a real sweet spot for that era at Midway, because the games are just so iconic, and I felt like, people would be really interested to find out, what that team was like.
No, absolutely. I watched the documentary. I had a blast. Sorry, I was just telling you a little off screen here. It was a trip down memory lane to see the rise and fall of some of this, these studios, and how the arcade kind of had its peak, but then you saw the consoles come in, and inevitable, you saw the arcade disappear. But it was definitely an interesting spin on the industry. And for those who may not know a bit about the backstory of, Williams and Midway, and how that partnership kind of didn't form, but did form in a sense, that without giving too much away, kind of thing. Josh, what was the experience like then, backtracking to some of your old peers and, some of the iconic people within the industry to develop this documentary?
Yeah, it was. It definitely was a trip down memory lane, not just for them, but for myself. So that was, I think, was half the fun, was just to go back and just hang out with everybody and just talk about, act like a bunch of old men and just talk about the old days, and so it was really great. And the nice thing was that, there were a lot of stories that I knew about, obviously, and I experienced when I was there. But it was great to hear the other side of things, where whether it's other team members I worked with, or executives on the business end of things, and even rivals from other companies and such. And so that was a ton of fun, and it was great in that, because the stories that we're talking about are over 20 years ago, people were just way more candid this time around. And I think it really reflects in the interviews.
Probably the greatest story of Midway.
There's no way they had a vision that it was going to go the way it went. None of us did. None of us could imagine that you could sell that many games again.
No, it did. It didn't feel as business, more or less, than just like you say, a trip down memory lane, right?
Yeah.
They felt very open to express, some, business is tough, and it doesn't always go the way you plan. And you could see that as everybody's talking and how their stories unfolded. There was a heavy focus on, Williams and how they started, and then the overtake of Midway. Your time there at Midway, how did that affect you when you were doing the documentary of Insert Coin?
In terms of the takeover of the companies and such?
Yeah,
it was interesting, because it really, how do I put this? It really shined the light on the rivalry between companies and between even teams within the company. And so, just a quick recap for your viewers. Williams, took over Midway. They were both longtime rivals. Williams, and then there's Bally, and then there's Midway. It's crazy, and they're all in Chicago. And so it was. It's kind of like the Yankees and the Mets, or the Cubs and the Sox, is just these crosstown rivals. And so when they got absorbed into each other, that kind of was added on top of the internal rivalries that were going on. And it's interesting, because there's, within the company itself, we always felt like we had a good camaraderie with each other, but we were always making sure that we were doing better than the next person, and it was usually pretty good-hearted. But then as success for the company really blew up, that type of relationship started changing, especially when large amounts of money started getting involved.
I guess this was one of the first, body part games. I think maybe the first.
The mission was to make it look real.
I love the gore and the blood and the guts spilling everywhere. It's really cool.
You think that's a good thing to put in an arcade where little kids are there?
I remember the first two guys that played it. They were literally...
I remember actually a member of the board of directors called the game a surrealistic nightmare.
And it's currently the #1 video arcade game in the country.
When are people going to see Insert Coin, and how can they watch it?
Yeah, so right now, Insert Coin is available on virtual cinemas. Actually, literally all over the country, all over the world, because people can get access to it wherever they are internationally. we're working with Alamo Drafthouse on demand to do the virtual cinemas, and then on top of that, we've partnered up with theaters all across the country, in the U.S. and in Canada, for virtual cinema. So, theaters are really hurting right now, and so a lot of these local indie theaters have partnered up with us, where you can basically get a virtual ticket of for the movie itself, and then it'll send you to a link where you can watch the film, streaming at home. So that's where it's at right now. And then on December 14th, it'll be available on Amazon Video on Demand also. And then it'll go wider after that.
That's excellent.
Best place to find out about where all this stuff is insertcoin.com. There's a screenings page, and you'll be able to find all the listings there.
Perfect. Josh, before I let you go, what is next for Insert Coin? Are we getting another film?
Oh my gosh, I've been asked that so many times now, and my usual, about a week ago, it was like, no, I can't even think about that. And now I'm starting to soft. I still can't think about that, but at the same time, I'm thinking maybe, 6 months from now, I'll revisit and do do the Snyder cut, which is like the gigantic version of it, and that'll be for the hardcore, hardcore fan.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it'd be like the Godfather saga.
Awesome. Josh, thanks so much for being on the show. Everybody, go check out Insert Coin. This is definitely a film you're going to want to see. That was awesome, Josh. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Oh, no, thanks.
Well, guys, it's here. One of the biggest games of the year, unfortunately, does not exactly come out the way we thought it would. Cyberpunk 2077 is out. Well, maybe not out anymore. However, we were supposed to do an actual review. Moving forward with the state of the game and everything that's happened of recent, we've held back our review because there's been a lot of stuff going on, and we're going to do an actual discussion on Cyberpunk. Right now, the state of the game where I'm at, I'm 17 hours into the game. I went with the Street Kid, and I'm level 12. So that's where I'm at. Nate, where are you at right now?
So I'm actually not too much further ahead of you, about 18 hours in.
Right.
And I did not plow through the story too much, man. It took me 13 hours, believe it or not, to get through the prologue. So that kind of goes to show you the route that I took, because I am enjoying this game. But man, so I went Corpo as well. So that's one thing, and I honestly am pretty pleased with that choice so far. I definitely like the route of Corpo and how he interacts with the world and everything. But Corey, what about you, man?
I'm a little bit less than you guys. It's kind of funny because we kind of talked about the prologues and how long it took us to play the prologues. Drew, I know you said you were about 5 hours. Nate, you were up to 13 hours, and I hadn't played the game yet, so it gave me a good sense of how much there is to do in this game outside of the main storyline. So I've played only about 10 hours so far, and it took me about 4.5, 5 to get through the prologue. And I have been more focused on the story than the side mission stuff, knowing that there was a prologue to get through. Yeah. If I didn't know that, I may have trailed off a bit more, because there is a lot to do early on in this game. But right out the gate, I'm playing on Stadia, so I'm getting a bit of a different experience. We're going to get into that in a little bit here. Mm-hmm. But my first impressions of this game are, it's definitely, I think, the hype was real for this game, and I think there's a good game here, but holy cow, with the way everybody's experiencing it right now, man, I don't know how it... Like, I don't know how some of these people are playing this game on other systems right now, other consoles.
Well, no, you raise a good point, Corey. Nate and I played on the Xbox Series X. Our cohort there, Steve, actually has it on the Xbox, the OG Xbox, and he no longer plays the game because it just doesn't work. Right? That's the other thing. So Nate and I, Series X, Corey on Stadia, and honestly, from the sounds of things, besides PC, Stadia is, as far as a console, I guess, feel, has the most stable kind of rate with less bugs and errors and issues. Because going in, man, Like, there's just one bug after another, and this is one of the reasons why we can't do the actual review, is because now Sony has come out and said they've removed it completely from the PlayStation Store. You can't even buy it. You cannot buy the game. This is unheard of. A game that launches has never been removed from the store. Dude, No Man's Sky dropped. Everybody had one issue after another, and Hello Games have dug themselves into a hole at launch because of over-promising and this and that and whatever else, issues kind of thing, right? And then you saw Hello Games just win an award for their game for most ongoing game, or best ongoing game, which is phenomenal. So there's definitely possibility to turn around. But what CD Projekt Red has done is just unfathomable to me, that the fact that they just launched a game knowing it was broken. And that is just, it's disheartening for the gamers. The hype has been there for 7 years on this game, right?
Man,
so like, it's just unheard of. And now, like I said, Microsoft's offering refunds and you just can't even buy it on the PlayStation Store. So besides what's going on out there in the ether with Cyberpunked and CD Projekt Red, our time with the game, obviously 17 hours in, there's still something there that's kind of keeping me going. Not you, Nate, with 18 hours. So I want to kind of get into what's our, how we feeling the game is actually going for ourselves. Like, we all have heard about the bugs and things, but from a playing perspective, how's your time been with the game, Nate?
My experience, honestly, has been mostly positive, but a lot of the glitches and things that I've heard, like the game-breaking things, I haven't had. It's only crashed my console once throughout the whole time, right. And I've been using the quick resume quite a bit, so I've been a little bit weary at times, but at any rate, it's actually run fairly well. But man, in-game bugs is just unfathomable, because what we saw at E3 for the last several years was nothing like what we get in this game. Unfortunately, at least on the Series X, it's like that. Because, man, where do I start? Where do we start, Drew? Because I know you got a whole list of things, and I got probably about 30 clips worth of random glitches that happen. But, man, where do we start?
Well, you know, we could go on. We can make a whole video just on bugs. Like, that's such an issue. Like, that just shouldn't be a thing. It honestly shouldn't be a video that we can create on behalf of CD Projekt Red. You know, this is a company that made The Witcher and The Witcher 2 and 3. 3 being one hit of next free DLC kind of thing, and just more content, and just nailing it out of the park. So the hype going into Cyberpunk was so big, and then we get in there and I get to one of the main story plots in the game, and the character is talking, but her lips don't move at all. Not at all, until we get out of the cutscene, then her lips start moving. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You know, and I was just, so I played 17 hours. Out of those 17 hours, I'd say 14 to 15 of those hours were probably main campaign only. And the campaign, honestly, has me hooked. It is really well written, but there's just so many other issues in the game that just prevent it from being where it really should have been at launch.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not experiencing that many issues as far as running the game on Stadia. For the most part, I have a stable internet connection. It's hardwired. Today I actually played wirelessly on a laptop through Stadia, which actually worked really, really well. I had no issues whatsoever. It was running at 1080p, 60 frames per second, which I know they've been saying over the last week or so that they have been having issues in certain regions, not necessarily North America, but I know in the UK and certain parts of Europe over the last couple days actually had an outage on Stadia, their first one ever.
Yeah.
So I know that caused a few issues there. So maybe we can kind of rule that all in as far as, you know, there's a lot more people accessing the service now because people are starting to hear that Stadia is one of the better options to experience this game. And the fact that I don't have these, you know, as many game-breaking issues or crashes, I'm able to experience this story probably a little more truthfully, you know, that CD Projekt Red wanted people to experience it compared to maybe, say, like Steve on OG Xbox who can't even play the game anymore, or you guys where you'll get the odd crash every once in a while. So, I mean, the only thing I really have to harp on is I get a lot of voiceover text over voiceover text, where I may be interacting with something and then a part of the story is going on and someone starts talking to me while something else is being said to me. So it's like, I get it. There's no such thing as a game that comes out now, especially one that's promised at this scale, that isn't going to have some sort of issues.
Sure.
But let's get real here. They pushed this game back once already, and it wasn't. I mean, it didn't do anything. It clearly they just tried to bide their time, and it didn't work. You know, everybody's upset with what Halo did, but wouldn't everybody have been upset knowing what the game's like now? Would they have been upset waiting another year for this game to come out in the form it needs to?
Unfortunately, it's just not what we wanted in the end. But again, like we keep going back to, we're still having a good time. Like the campaign is awesome. Keanu Reeves is fantastic. I think he's such a cool character, and he's
his
just
integration.
Yeah,
he's a little stoic though. His character, like he doesn't have, like I get it. That's who Keanu Reeves is. I mean, anybody that's a fan knows the way his acting style is.
Yeah.
But I just felt like he was a little kind of statuesque in this. In certain portions during the dialogue, it's just like, oh man, I feel like he could have a little more emotion. And then other times he shows it. So I mean, it's just the way the game played out. But for me, it's just. I want to like this game more, and I think as time goes on, we're all going to enjoy this game more. It's just a matter of how much time can you commit to something that's as frustrating as this can be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to wrap it up for our Cyberpunk talk, because we could obviously keep going. We can do a whole podcast on this, but I think we should wrap it up. Let us know if you've actually had the ability to play the game. Hit us up at insidethegame.ca and let us know what you think of Cyberpunk 2077.
Probably keeping him hidden from Arasaka. Must have worked on a top secret project.
Mm-hmm. Hidden from Arasaka.
Drew, this week we're exploring the Mind Palace.
Basswood is many things. Peaceful tops that list. Until that day.
You're the one in the driver's seat, Sam. I can't make you do anything.
So Drew, this week we got to check out a pretty cool game, one that we actually took an early look at a few months ago, so I know we kind of been waiting for this one. It's Twin Mirror from Don't Nod Games. It's kind of a walking sim, dialogue, selection type style story game, and it's kind of one of those games where, you know, you kind of get invested in the storyline and some of the characters. So what did this one kind of do for you when you first jumped in?
Honestly, it was not what I was expecting. After being a part of the preview cycle itself, I was really pumped for the game from Don't Nod, and then coming off of Tell Me Why and being so enthralled by that story, man, I was pumped to get into Twin Mirror. And unfortunately, I was just disappointed with Twin Mirror. Like, I'm not holding back here at all. It was not what I kind of expected, to be honest, because at the beginning, it's so slow to get into the game, and the game's not long, right? The game's only about 5 to 6 hours long, so I completed it in like 2 sittings, more or less. And then, but man, the first sitting was half the game for me, and it was just so dull and drawn out. And I was just like, man, the premise of the story is that Sam is back in Basswood after taking a 2-year hiatus due to the fact that one of his best friends passed away. And that kind of leads into more of a storyline with itself, as Nick is no longer with him. But why did Nick pass away? And that's kind of where the story starts to unravel. But to get to that story, dude, you have to get through like 4 hours of the game. And like the game's only 6 hours long. But it hindered on so many other technical issues for me that it really lacked the experience and the overall storytelling of the game itself when you're talking to characters, because that's what this game is. You go and you talk to everybody. I remember actually putting the controller down and just listening and watching the game. And that kind of, you know, for some games that's okay, but for this game and being so short, I want to be hands-on more, and I wasn't there. And then when you talk to your characters, these characters would talk, their lips would move, and then the VO was like way out of sync. And then Cory, you and I were talking about it a little off camera too, the fact that, you know, they went for a realistic look, but that not all of it, like it's got this weird art style to it because it wasn't fully executed properly with some of the main characters. Some look more cartoonish, and then some look like Sam himself and his twin. Like, so Sam's got this mind kind of friend of his, right? So he's got an imaginary friend that follows Sam, that helps him with some of these dialogue choices. And some of them, honestly, like, Cory, before I keep going, dude, what did you think? Because I could be going here for a while. I want to make sure you got your sense in there as well.
So that's all right. I didn't want to cut you off because honestly, I agree with pretty much everything you said there. The only thing I really want to add in is the fact that when you get into this game, my most previous experience with a game like this was Life is Strange. And that was a great episodic kind of version of what we're playing here. But the fact that I can play this the entire game here, and that only fits into less than 2 episodes of a game like Life is Strange, it just tells me that there's not enough depth here. And it's all about interaction and kind of being immersed in the story with games like this. And the game just didn't bring it in that department. You know what I mean? Like, it just it didn't give you what you wanted. It didn't give enough depth. Like, Sam's just kind of this unlikable main character that can't really make his mind up. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that's the whole premise, is he's got this, you know, good conscience that kind of chimes in every once in a while, and you have to listen to him sometimes or choose to kind of go with Sam's kind of gray attitude is what I'll call it. You know what I mean? Like, he's very depressed the entire time. He doesn't really want to be where he's at, but he's got that OCD to solve, you know, Nick's crime or solve the murder which he believes has happened. Right. So it's one of these things where it's just, the farther you get into it, you just hope more and more is going to happen. But like you said, there's almost no interaction here. We have very limited choices when it comes to our dialogue, and you select it, and then you're sitting there for 2 minutes while the characters talk about something that's not really that interesting. And then maybe you have a big choice that pops up, and that's okay. This is the big one with the conversation here, is that we get these 2 kind of big choices every once in a while throughout the story, where we have to go with our good conscience that's telling us, you know, we really should be doing this because it's for the good of, you know, this person or whatever. Always kind of tends to favor on the more positive side for the other party. And then there's Sam's perspective, where he's just wants to find the truth, and whether it's going to hurt the people he loves or not, sometimes that's just what he needs to do. And it feels like the choice is bigger than it is, because a lot of times, no matter what you chose, it kind of just brings you back around to the same point. So to me, that's a huge miss with a story like this, is you need to have these kind of branching tree branches here with a story where you can select something and kind of go off on a different tangent. Because I feel like there was really only maybe 3 options at the end here. So depending on what you chose, there wasn't going to be a whole lot of difference. Me and you actually got the same ending. So that'll tell you something right there. I mean, just a lot of the options led you in the same direction. So it was a disappointment, unfortunately.
No, absolutely. And there was just, the game is finicky too, Cory. When you go and you're exploring, you're looking for clues, and often some of these clues aren't that prominent in front of you. So you're searching and you're looking around, and then when you hover over something, that'll prompt you with an option to either look or read or interact in some manner. But sometimes you see the options there, but you really need to zero in on its actual location before you can select it.
Get that right angle.
Well, exactly, right? I mean, I was like, I'm on top of this thing. Why can't I select it? And I really got frustrated. And some of the puzzles, you head to this, what they call the Mind Palace. And it allows Sam to relive some of these memories. And it also interacts with some of the puzzles and challenges within the game itself. And some of these challenges, Cory, were just so out there and had nothing to do with really what I felt was with the game. There's this one particular scene that there's just doors after door after door, and you're trying to find yourself through this kind of maze. But it doesn't tell you or explain anything. It's just, it was the luck of the draw that I finished that thing. I was like, man, this makes no sense for this game. And I found myself getting frustrated from the beginning to almost the end of the game. And for a 6-hour experience, man, I need to be enlightened. I need to be driven forward and not frustrated with such a narrow experience. Now, the end of the game, Cory, I want to say it was worth it but it kind like, you know what I mean? It was, I liked the ending. Let me put it that way. So the ending was, I'm glad I saw it through, but at the same time, it was hard to get through, and I don't think a lot of people are going to stick with it, man.
No, you know what? I'm going to jump back to just a little bit of the gameplay mechanics like you touched on earlier there. It's the part of the game I actually did enjoy, but I had plenty of issues with as well. I did kind of like the Mind Palace and where it took you. It was very, you know, obscure and abstract. It reminded me of like Super Hot, very geometric, you know what I mean? It was really cool, and I liked how sometimes you had to play out the scenario, and you had to, like the bar fight scene early on in the game where you have to choose kind of remember how the fight went down, so you have to pick, you know, a couple choices in it. You can relive it to see if it is actually the memory, so you could actually, you know, recall what happened because you were blackout apparently that night. So you know, that mechanic was really cool. It was nice to see, and I wish we actually got more of that, because that interaction was really what I did enjoy, and that's kind of what I played for. But like you said, even during that, when I had to select those choices, I'm walking up to it and I gotta be at the right angle to see it so I could, you know, confirm and press the button. So again, there was definitely some misses here, and it was just, I wanted to like it more than I did. But if this game was longer, I don't know if I would have got to that kind of enjoyable ending that we both got.
No, absolutely. I think if they would have extended it to 8-10 hours, man, that would have been rough. Like, you know what I mean? So I think the 6-hour mark is perfect. It just didn't hit the execution I was hoping for.
As time draws near, my dearest dear, when you and I must part.
So we've been staring in the mirror for a while here, Drew, and I don't know if I like what I see. If we've got to score Twin Mirror, what are you going to give this one?
Oh man, it's unfortunately it just didn't hit all the right notes I was hoping for. That's what I said. Dontnod's a great studio. So after coming off of Tell Me Why, which we rated it very well, and it was such a good and just engaging experience, Twin Mirror just missed all those points what they had in the first time. Like I was blown away with the amount of misses in the game. The overall experience is short, and it's only coming in around $30 as well. So I guess that's something to take note of too, but at the same time, you can't really justify it on that either. So for me, with the amount of misses, with a pretty good ending, I guess, if you can get to it, gives me there with a 6.
You know what? I gotta agree with you, man. I think I'm right about there as well. It's just, you know what? We're art style guys, and graphically, this game confused me. I liked some of it. I disliked a lot of it, and it just kind of, it gives you this kind of bad taste in your mouth right from the beginning. And if you've played games like this before, it's gonna be tough because you're gonna realize what this game's missing. It was just a little too shallow. I know there's gonna be people out there that are gonna enjoy it, and like you said, the $30 price tag isn't bad. But you know what? I think I can only give this one a 6 as well.
Sorry we lost touch. Sorry I lost touch.
There was lots of promise for this one from a studio known for this genre, but a shallow storyline and lack of interaction has you watching more than playing.
I wonder who took that picture.
I was able to catch up with Jeremy, formerly known for working at Blizzard, but now has gone out and started his own company, Leyline, with gamers helping build a better community. So here it is, my time talking with Jeremy. All right, everybody, I have a special guest. I have Jeremy here from Leyline. Jeremy, welcome to the show. Why don't you give us a bit of a backstory of yourself and explain to people what your new company is all about?
All right. Hi, Drew. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. And to introduce myself, so my name's Jeremy. I've been in the tech industry for about 16, 17 years now, not including some entrepreneurship I did back in college. And the last 10 years have been with Blizzard Entertainment. So I was able to serve a lot of different roles there. So I started off as a producer on the web and mobile team, building a lot of the front-facing sites, shifted over to our accounts platform and building our e-commerce platform. And there was able to help launch a bunch of AAA games. So Overwatch, Diablo, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, a bunch of expansions. So it's been a very fun journey there. After about 3 years, I moved out to Paris to work out of our European office. So that was the hub for all of Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So I spent a lot of time doing digital marketing, publishing, building out our data platforms, data science and analytics. So I spent 3 years there, and it was a really amazing experience. Came back to California to HQ at Blizzard and worked on our esports team. So I did international operations and business development, helped launch a bunch of our leagues internationally, as well as the Overwatch League. So that's a very different type of business than video games, shockingly. So yeah, happy to share lots of nuggets there too.
Yeah, please do.
So I've been very, very fortunate. Like, honestly, I'm so grateful to have had this opportunity to really see so many elements of, the games business, the games industry, but even more so, it's like, what is esports and traditional sports and media and sponsorships and building these partnerships. So, I just saw a lot of how the private sector functions and all the, tools and tricks that are used to to generate a lot of money. And one of the big insights for me was, wow, there is so much happening in this space. There are 2.7 billion gamers on this planet, and it's only growing. It's going to be another billion people in the next 5 years, easy. So what are we doing with all of this energy and power and passion? And not what I realized is that even at Blizzard itself, we got 60 million monthly average users, active users.
Yeah.
And the question I had is okay, how much of this is going back to the people and to solve problems in the real world and address global issues? And frankly, it's easily less than 1% of the revenue is going, towards really good causes.
Why don't you explain to our viewers then exactly what is Leyline?
Yes, sorry, that's we're many minutes in before I even get to the pitch, but yeah. So the idea about Leyline is we want to build this economy of altruism, and essentially, when you try to do something good these days, it actually costs you. It costs you money or time or your skills or access to networks. And people don't have a lot of that these days, nor are they incentivized to do it either. So we want to design a platform and economy where people are rewarded for doing good things, where it's super easy to contribute. Literally just leaving your computer on at night and you just start saving the world by donating computer power to scientific research, which is going to help bring solutions to COVID and cancer and climate change. So we are trying to find these opportunities that we can activate this giant cohort of gamers that are so passionate about giving back. The amount of gaming activity towards charity is easily within the tens of millions of dollars. Twitch charity streams, for example.
Yep.
Video game, item sales go to charity. So this generation cares. They're just looking for a pathway and an easy way to support the causes that they care about, and then just get rewarded on top of that with real world value assets and prizes and even gift cards. So that's what we're trying to design. And so we've built this platform that connects these users to these different causes, and the engine that kicks us off is that we're partnering with a bunch of sponsors. So game developers, hardware manufacturers, any brands that just want to donate to this cause, and they donate cash or unique in-game items or discount codes or coupon codes or just free software. And it creates this super random, awesome, unique prize pool. And that's going to incentivize gamers to come in and say, all right, let me do this. Let me sign up. I'm going to download an app, leave my computer on, and donate computing power to science, which is going to accelerate cures to all these massive problems. And I do nothing and just start racking up Leyline points, which I can now use to claim these super cool items. And we're going a step further as well, where not only do you get these donated real-world value from our sponsors, we are creating these digital items on Leyline that's going to make you look awesome. So your avatar and your items, the most badass weaponry you can imagine. We've got the fun artists that are like creating these crazy concepts. And so the bleeding edge tech that we're using is actually blockchain. So these digital items on Leyline are non-fungible tokens, which means that it cannot be hacked or copied or duplicated or taken away from you. It has intrinsic value because it's rare, and you can actually trade it with other people and sell it for real money. So yeah, if you want to get involved, join our Discord or sign up for an account, get on a wait list, and we'll bump you up if you're an early adopter. And the awesome thing is that we already have a prize pool. Like there is value in there to claim. And we're going to set it up such that the alpha testers will be able to retain some of these non-fungible tokens. So now imagine like 2 years from now when Leyline is just massive, you can own the most rare item on the planet that will never be replicated ever again. And it's centered on an economy of just doing good things in the real world. That is the win that we're trying to set up for everybody. And it's just a positive sum scenario where no one has to lose in order for you to win. We can all just create this abundance for all of us. And it just makes all our lives better and the world around us better. So we're trying to rewrite the rules. Like it's pretty ambitious stuff, but we've done all the research and the business modeling and the risk analysis. This is very, very doable.
That sounds great. Jeremy, thank you so much for your time. It's been an honor to have you here. And it's definitely something that's changing the gamers and what we can do as a community, because the gaming industry is massive and we're just a little dime in the pool of what we can do here. So everybody go check out leyline.gg. The guys and I were live this week over on our Twitch channel as we went and dove into the new season of Fall Guys.
Oh, and you have a little drone as well that follows you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that snowball just cranked me, man.
Oh,
no.
yeah, that thing came out there like a rock.
Like a rocket. Yeah.
Alright, let's take my path up here. No. Oh!
Honestly, the grounded update looks cool, though, man.
I just didn't feel that game at all.
I just, you know what? I'm not very. I don't know. I don't have the time for those survival games.
I like to make the time for certain survival games, and that one just didn't click. I appreciate what it did, but it just didn't stick with me. That's why there's this medieval. I gotta find out what game that was. It's a medieval game, but you literally build your own town and everything. Oh, come on, get out of here.
Shoot.
Fan? Not a fan.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. I bounced on one to the other.
Nice. Qualified
nice.
too.
Dun, 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 dun.
There we go. Made it. Come on, Steve. Oh, you're close, bud.
That guy screwed you.
This is it. This is it. Oh.
Oh, so close, Steve. You're like right there, buddy.
Oh, nice try, man.
I got yellow. I'm messing with yellow.
I'm messing with blue.
There's two of us on yellow just blocking it. Oh man,
that's
I'll need you guys in our team to try to get that.
Yellow's not even moving. Like a couple of guys are just standing there.
We killed yellow so bad. I was on one side, the other guy was on the other side. We just forced it into the wall. They weren't standing a chance.
They were jumping on the bandwagon.
You can really lopside the numbers. Like, you don't need as many people to attack that thing, right? To stop them. Like, one guy can mess up the whole crew.
It's funny.
That's funny.
All right, man. We're in the final game here.
Oh,
good luck, Cory.
All right, ITG.
Oh, I'm nervous. I haven't done this one.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
It looks hard.
Yeah.
It looks hard. All right, let's see. Let's try to catch this crown. Let's try to catch this crown dub.
Let's do it. Have you won a crown at all, Corey?
Yeah, I've won one.
And me too. That's it. It's so hard.
That's it. I won a hexagon. It was amazing.
Yeah, me too. Oh, what is this? Oh, we're not there yet, Corey. Oh, no.
How are we not?
No, this is the final. This is the final.
Is it? Oh,
it
is.
said final.
Really? Eh? I was expecting the other one.
Oh.
That's cool. Switch things up a bit.
Oh man, oh man.
This looks
I don't know
pretty
how I feel
scary,
about
guys.
these ones, man.
We'll see. I like these ones.
I just was so prepared for the other one, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, me too.
Oh man, it's just getting a little bit fast, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, speeding up, speeding up.
Corey.
Up here, yeah.
Corey. Don't get too cocky now.
Wow.
Just kidding.
That is quick, yo. That is fast. Oh man.
No one's eliminated yet, guys.
Oh no.
I know, that's the problem with
I
these
fell.
ones. Oh, it's me!
Oh no!
I belly
jinxed
flopped.
it. You got fall physics right out of that one. Man.
Come on, Drew, you got this.
Oh man.
I
There's
believe
so
in the
many.
second crown, man.
So
Ow.
many. Oh, holy. Whoa.
Uh-oh,
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, the paddle saved you. Oh my.
It's so quick.
Oh my gosh. 4 out of 9.
Oh no. Oh my.
Oh my god.
This is nuts.
You got this.
Dude, you gotta get over.
I'm trying.
Oh my gosh, this is.
That
so
snowman's your biggest competition. Oh wait, they're all snowmen. Never mind. I didn't even realize. That one guy looked like he knew what he was
It's
doing.
so bad, dude.
Did you do it?
You won.
Did you win?
Did I win?
You won.
Bro, you won! Oh, you won!
Second crab.
Nicely. That was crazy.
Good job.
Oh wow.
Good job, man.
Oh,
Dang.
thank you.
Buddy.
Wow. That was hard.
Yeah.
Take my crown.
Oh, nice. Yo, as if you caught one.
There you
Nice.
go. Well, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Now, of course, you can be a part of the show by going to insidethegame.ca or hitting us up on Discord, just like Game Zub did as he submitted his clip of Ghost of Tsushima. So until next week, thanks for watching, and we'll see you inside the game.